The farmland was very long and wide. The land would surely be fertile. There is even a river close to it. John Cartwright had spent near half his life riding fence lines and breaking broncs for other men. Now, with coins saved and a deed in his saddlebag, he finally had a spread of his own. The company out of Denver called it Lot 47, a name too sterile for dirt that smelled of rain and mesquite, but to John it meant roots. The morning he first rode across it, dust whispering up around his horse's legs, he saw the boy, thin, barefoot, maybe 12, standing by the weather-worn barn that leaned like an old drunk. The boy squinted against the sun, and his voice carried steady when John rode closer. "You're trespassing." John pulled up his reins, tipping his hat. "Reckon not, son. I got papers say this land's mine." The boy shook his head, a defiance too old for his years. "My pa owns this place. Always has. Ain't no paper gonna change that." There was silence then, save for the cicadas buzzing. John studied the boy, the dirt-smudged face, the stubborn jaw. He didn't look like a squatter. He looked like someone who belonged. "Where's your pa then?" John asked. The boy's eyes flickered toward the farmhouse, its roof sagging like a tired beast. "He ain't here no more. Went to town last spring. Didn't come back." John dismounted, boots crunching dry earth. "Listen, son, a company out of Denver sold me this spread. Don't know about your pa, but it's mine now." The boy's voice dropped low. "That company don't own nothing but ink and lies. My pa's bones are in this soil." John felt the words cut, cold in the heat. He followed the boy's gaze and noticed, by the cottonwoods near the river, a row of crude wooden markers. Graves. Something gnawed at him then. Companies in Denver sold lots by the hundreds, never seeing the ground, never caring if it was already lived on, or cursed, or claimed by blood. John rubbed his jaw. He could run the boy off easy. He was grown, he had the deed, and the boy had nothing but dirt and ghosts. Yet the boy's stare was unwavering, like he was the last sentinel of something bigger than law or paper. Finally, John spoke. "Reckon there's enough land here for two. You work, you stay. Call it partnership till you're old enough to ride your own trail." The boy studied him long, suspicion flickering in his eyes, but at last he gave a short nod, and so they stayed. John mended fences, the boy tended cattle, and together they worked the soil. But at night, when the wind carried across the prairie, he would hear footsteps outside, heavy as a man's, circling the barn, and sometimes he'd wake to find the boy standing at the window, whispering, "Pa, I ain't leavin'." John never asked who the boy was speaking to. The land had claimed him, same as it had claimed the boy's father. And in the end, the deed in his saddlebag mattered less than the graves by the cottonwoods. The land was theirs, both of theirs, bound by sweat, silence, and the unbroken claim of the dead. But it wasn't ghosts circling the barn. It was the boy himself. He rattled tin, dragged chains, scratched windows with old nails, making the cowboy uneasy. wearing him thin night by night. By the third week, John's nerves were raw. He kept his colt at hand, his sleep light. That was when the boys struck. A shovel's edge caught John in the skull one black night, dropping him like a steer in the slaughter pen. The boy, breathing heavy, dragged him to the cottonwoods. He buried him shallow in the same ground he had sworn his father lay. There had never been a father. The boy had lied, made the story to anchor himself, to guard a patch of earth he'd stumbled upon years ago. Now it was his, and his alone. Or so he thought. The first night after the killing, the wind rose, carrying a voice through the boards of the farmhouse. "Boy," the word rasped low, like boots dragging gravel. The boy told himself it was nothing, but the voice came again, closer with each dusk. By the seventh night, he woke to the sound of spurs clinking across the floorboards, slow, deliberate, coming from the shadows where no man stood. The boy's hand shook, the shovel slipping from his grip. Then came the smell, sour earth, rotting leather, blood turned black. When he turned, John was there, face split, skull caved where the shovel had struck, eyes burning pale in the dark. His voice was a growl torn from the grave. The boy tried to run. The ghost caught him by the throat, fingers colder than winter iron. He kicked, clawed, screamed, but the prairie was endless, and no one came. The cottonwoods swayed, branches groaning like gallows rope, and under the prairie moon, John Cartwright's ghost rode the fence lines, forever watching the land he'd bought with coin and kept with vengeance. The boy's lies ended with his blood soaking into the soil. The land was his no longer. It was John's, and John's alone.